Hello, dear viewers. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, well, today we have quite a mess out there, don't we? I mean, we have protests all over the nation and even in the rest of the world protesting in solidarity, the heartbreak and the absolute frustration and anger over George Floyd's murder in the street in front of people by police officers it's too much to bear. And it's just yet another example of police brutality against people of color, against black men. It's another example of it. And people are standing in solidarity to protest this and demand change and reform. And there are police officers who are trying to make order and keep order, and they're getting things thrown at them. And there are National Guard coming in, dealing with this, and I hope they're protected too. I'm praying for everybody to be protected. Everybody, the protesters, the police, the National Guard, and now we find Barr is deploying a federal team, a riot team. So it's very concerning, and it feels very, yes, explosive. Yes, so everybody's concerned. We have outside groups infiltrating protests in Minneapolis, where it started after George Floyd was killed. We had indicators there were outside groups who had been organized to take advantage of this and foment it. And they found stolen cars around the metro area parked with no license plates on them, filled with incendiaries, things to set fires, explosives, weapons, things like that. So that's scary. And there were many reports of young white men in black starting the violence, starting the smashing in the windows and trying to set things on fire. In one neighborhood, a man said that and they do that sneakily, and they do that away from the protesters. So it's definitely a different movement, coordinated. And one man was interviewed in Minneapolis saying there's a liquor store in his neighborhood, and these men kept trying to stack burning cardboard against the walls to set it on fire, and all the neighbors were concerned it was going to blow up because of all the liquor inside. So they had to keep removing this cardboard. I mean, it kept happening, and they eventually just had to keep watch over that liquor store. So, oh gosh, I pray protection for all of those folks who live in the middle of this too. So we have all these issues. Janet, who's a viewer, reminded me when I did my George Floyd video that these outside groups, well, remember Steve Bannon was all about deconstructionist, it's sort of anarchy, deconstructionist revision of the government, and that's part of the reason Trump appointed heads to departments that would actually gut them and be against their mission, like for the EPA. So, and I don't know how much Trump agreed with these kinds of views, or just he hated governmental regulation. But then, indicators that all across the world, there have been efforts by people associated with Steve Bannon and others who are in the shadows to promote a far-right kind of authoritarian kind of government and eliminate, just sort of erode governmental protections. So, how much is this related to that? Also, people saw white supremacist groups coming in and saying they're coming in armed, and they saw this activity on Facebook, and they're ready for civil war. Great. So what's going on? What's going on with all of these protests? What will go on? Will they be calming down? Trump has been noticeably absent except for he sends out tweets that actually increase the divisiveness. But he hasn't tried to make a speech as of now, as of this moment, that unites people. So, yeah, let's see. Let's see. All right, Spirit. So tell us about the protest, and please give us information about the future. This is very nerve-wracking. New beginning. The Fool. Heart of the matter. You know what is, you guys, and I tell you this a lot, because a lot of times I will do a video and I will feel like I'm just then getting in the energies, and so I won't post that one. I'll post the next one. And this time I was interrupted, but this was the exact same card I chose for the heart of the matter in the video I did a half hour ago. So Spirit must really mean it. It's a new beginning. The new beginning beckons, but we don't know what to do with it. Our young people are sort of rushing out. Even if they're jumping off the cliff, they don't care. They are idealistic. But we do need a new beginning. They're answering the call, essentially. Not always wisely, but they're answering the call that Spirit is making. Okay. So, the challenge is the 8 of Swords. All the thoughts, all of the ways people feel trapped, all of the ways that people feel like change cannot happen. That's the challenge. And perhaps jailing people. People are getting jailed too. Protesters are. And boy, we pray for their protection. But also, there's things we don't see with this, the blindfold on the woman. There are things we don't see because we don't know them. We don't have all the facts. We have a sense there are many things going on behind the scenes here. Why don't we get police reform? Why? And many police officers are very good people who sincerely want to serve. And frankly, I think that holding police accountable and doing reform is part of it, but part of that has to also be providing support and decent pay for those who are in there for the right reasons, trying to serve and take risk of post-traumatic stress disorder on themselves. You know, how are we taking care of them? Are we sending them back into the streets? You know, that kind of thing. So it's not just greater accountability and reform. It's also greater support for the good work. So why doesn't it happen? There are many factors at play. So we'll keep pulling cards. Secrets, absolutely. In the subconscious, there are secrets. There are secrets here. And I, explained all of the questions that we have. So there is a secret agenda then that is fomenting that. It is trying to make the protesters look bad. It is trying to use this. There was an organized effort just waiting for the next protest about police brutality against black people, because that was going to happen. They've been trying to foment that. There is a real problem, though. See, that's where the new beginning is okay, there's an opportunity to do something about it. It's not true we can't do anything about it. It can be addressed. Okay, in the past we have the King of Swords. The press, the truth coming out, investigations. All Americans and many who are not citizens have been following all of the new information and putting it all together and realizing that why so much of our government doesn't serve us, doesn't serve the people, and oppression, learning more about oppression, and not just of black and brown skinned people, but of everyone, of people who don't have a lot of money. That's happening in the U.S. They now have more empathy for people of color because it's been tough times for them too. So Above it all, we have the Hanged Man. Oh. In some ways, okay. In some ways, that's the sacrifice. In some ways, that's George. You know what? So I haven't put in a reading up about George because I just feel like this is such a raw situation. I don't want to presume to do that right now. But he is very active. He is very active in trying to help people during this time from the other side. And I really do believe, and he was a man of God. He is a man of God. So I really do believe that there is a part of him that was a real hero, that he really did identify with Jesus, and he really did pray many times, send me, if my life can be of service to the greater good, send me. He really did, and he meant it, and he did pray that. Not that he wanted this, not that it was okay, but this sacrifice will not be wasted. So that's my prayer too. Okay. In the immediate future, we have the 8 of coins. A lot of work, a lot of learning, a lot of cleanup. At the root of the matter is the 8 of Cups. Trump, pandemic, isolation, but also Trump leaving. Trump really has really created a lot of this. I mean, it was here long before he was, but he really has made it worse because he doesn't, people are feeling so frustrated that he can continue to say things that are so damaging to America. And nobody seems to be able to do anything. Nobody could remove him from office. He should have left. He should have left as a result of impeachment. But the Senate just gave him a pass. People are frustrated with the corruption. Okay. And then we have the 7 of coins for the immediate environment. Also, people are frustrated with their financial futures still looking pretty dim. Nothing is changing and nothing is changing except for people are having more financial troubles. Nothing gets changed. We have the hope card for the hopes and fears. So Spirit is saying to us, with the Fool card and with the hope card, there's a new beginning. You should be hopeful. It is coming. There is hopefulness. Be hopeful. Do not despair. Feel your despair, but then move on. Because with a lot of work, things can be done. Outcome is the Lover's card. The angels are with us. There will be more love. There will be more love eventually. Okay. It's already growing. Knight of Coins. We have to depend upon people who will work diligently and steadily for change. And 10 of Wands. It's a lot. It's a lot. It may feel like too much. Okay, so that's, I feel like, the general message, which to me is hopeful. I want to know, what about the protests, though? Do they intensify? Do they get better? What? All right, Spirit. 8 of Wands. Things keep moving forward in a concerted direction. They keep going in a number of places. 5 of Swords. Yeah, see, people are not backing down. It's that we're going to be victorious. I don't care. We're fighting. We're going to win this. The people need a win. But also, though, the government is determined to control it as they need to. So in other words, It's going to keep going. It's going to keep going until there is some statement made from the White House that acknowledges a problem in our criminal justice system, in our police forces, in many police forces, that has gone unaddressed, acknowledges the problem and does something about it. It's going to keep going till then. I see both sides determined to win. The Knight of Cups. Okay, there will be statements coming out that attempt to mollify. So expect that from the administration. But they're halfway statements. You know, they're insincere. They're manipulative. Okay, they're not, here's my plan. I am creating a new department to investigate. There's all these plans that could help here. And what I keep getting is the protesters, they're taking all of the information into account that they've learned. And it is the age of information. They are learning a lot. If they were given this is the plan, this is what we're going to do. Yes, reforms are needed. A, B, C, D, E, and F is happening. It would help. It really, truly would. What I'm getting is what we're going to hear is not that. It's going to be manipulative. 7 of Cups. And then the confusion. Yes, the confusion, illusion being peddled still from the White House. That's what we're going to get. William Barr came out and said, oh, it's Antifa. Like the second day. Oh, sure. How do you know that? The local authorities, I live in Minnesota, the local authorities wasn't saying it's anything like Antifa. So they were still looking for answers. So, okay. But first I want to ask more about the future of this and then underlying dynamics. Okay. So what next, Spirit? So we're learning that we're going to hear a lot of peddling of illusion, a lot of attempts to mollify from the White House. Not effective. Next, judgment falls. Clarity. Judgment falls. A decision is made. Let me get some clarifiers. The Hermit. Best to stay in your house. The Ten of Swords. Okay, I do think they will, the hammer will fall. They will make sure these protests stop at some point here. So unfortunately, what I'm getting from the cards is that will happen before a good, validating, smart plan would be presented by the White House. They will fail. They will fail. This could so easily be averted. But they will fail at that, and they will choose instead to quash the protests. Okay. All right, spirits. So, okay. I'm asking in my mind, how bad will it be? And then we have the 3 of Swords. So that tells me heartbreaking in the way it has been heartbreaking. Okay. So, no, it's not that. Like Trump is going to try to take authoritarian control of all things. This is what so many and I have worried about, that he would take an opportunity to, try to turn us into a different kind of nation. Suddenly. Like take over the democracy. But no, that's not what I'm seeing, okay? It's the kind of heartbreak that we've had before. So in other words, yes, protests will be stopped, but people will not have the sense they've been heard. They will stop for their own safety, Okay. What then? Yeah, 8 of Swords, right. People jailed. In fact, gosh, you guys, I feel like they will be stopped. And as a nation, I feel like in some ways, it won't be as hard to stop them as one would think because people, sometimes the anger will kind of burn out a bit too, and nobody wants destruction of the neighborhoods. Nobody wants people hurt. So they will stop. Yes, there will be, because the National Guard and because the police and because this team, this riot team, and they will stop. But I do feel like there will not be a sense of satisfaction in the populace. So it's still like a tinderbox. Okay. You know, my question about this is, so then what? How many people are jailed and for what? 8 of coins. Okay, then there's a lot of, okay, people are jailed from protests, and Trump does make noises about increasing, he's already said that apparently, like he thinks they should have long jail sentences. And so there's more noises made like that. And this affects the people who did the work in the protests, like the protesters, the ones who just turned out and tried to make change. Okay? And then there's outrage about that, and outcry about that. Like, there is freedom of the speech. Don't ramp up consequences on people involved in protests past, what is reasonable. And a lot of people will be prosecuted for things they shouldn't be prosecuted for. There will be unfair prosecution of people too. All right. So that will be the next thing. There will continue to be debate. But you know what, you guys? As I'm hearing what's being said and seeing the people at the microphones and seeing there will be more protests, seeing the protests that come out of that, I frankly am feeling tremendous relief, because I'm saying, okay, then that means that the debate continues. Democracy continues. We continue to work on this. We continue. So that's okay. That feels relieving to me. All right. 8 of Wands. And things will still keep moving forward very quickly. Okay. So I think the protests are quashed, but not forever. There's a lot of not forever. People do not give up. So there will be more protests in the future. Maybe people will be a little more careful. Maybe there will be creativity in how to protest and go on strike in ways that have a powerful impact, but do not put the protesters at risk. This is not going away, is what I'm hearing. This is not going away. And you know what I keep hearing is the protesters, see, the government, the federal government keeps underestimating the protesters. They keep acting like these are people not thinking. Have you caught some of the interviews of the protesters? A lot of the young people, oh my gosh, are they smart? My gosh, are they smart and well-informed. And they just make a lot of sense. So the government is underestimating them and thinking that, and wanting to kind of create the impression that these are people just being hotheads and not thinking and behaving violently. No. The vast majority of the protests are very intelligent. They know they have to fight for a different future, and that's what they're doing. So, no. Authoritarian measures will not prevail. No. These people are the future of our nation.